This week's episode of Fireside is brought to you by Legends of Belize and Wonders Oddities Expo.
Hello, everybody. You're listening to Fireside Paranormal Podcast. My name is Jordan Klein. As always, a fun show planned out tonight. My guest is Ethan Quinlan with Wolf Paranormal. Before we get to him, just a few announcements. This first announcement's kind of big, kind of sad. This will be the last episode of Fireside for the year. Unfortunately, I had a death in my family this week, and next week we are going to be on the road traveling so that we can be at the service. When we do come back the next year, it sounds so far away, but when we do come back, I have some great guests lined up. I'm really excited for next year's lineup. It is going to be amazing. I also want to give a special thank you to all you on Twitter specifically. Y'all showed me a lot of love and your thoughts, prayers, and condolences, and I just want to let you all know I appreciate you so much.
Legends of Belize is a series about mythical creatures that dwell in the jungles and waters of Belize. The Belizean legends are captured, documented, and preserved like never before in a comprehensive art series and books with fully colored and detailed images of fine art by artists, authors, and award-winning animators Dismas and Grissi G. Discover the supernatural creatures that await deep in the jungles, such as the mysterious dwarf called Tata Duende with backwards feet, known to rip the thumbs off of trespassers, or the beautiful shape-shifting woman known to locals as the Ishtabai, who seduces drunks to never be seen again. These creatures and many more can be found in the Legends of Belize books. Learn about the cryptozoological, paranormal, and unexplained creatures that haunt Belize. Be fascinated. Be terrified. Belize. Legend of Belize books are available in print and ebook. Buy your copy from your favorite online bookstore such as Amazon, KDP, Apple Books, and many more. Also be sure to visit legendsofbelize.com.
I also want to give a little reminder that I am in this month's issue of Paranormality magazine, and I will be on the cover of American Paranormal Magazine's West Virginia issue in January. So check out both of those publications. They are awesome and great, and love that they support the show. This week's featured story comes in from Jennifer.
All right, so I am Jennifer, and I'm from Moundsville, West Virginia. So I guess, I mean, it's very famous, and it's been traveled by most Ghost Adventures. It's been, like, pretty much everybody's been there paranormal-wise. And they have, ghost tours, but the Moundsville, West Virginia Penitentiary, it's very haunted.
All the time.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have an experience. And especially if you're not even looking for it, but I worked there, so I had many occurrences. Nothing too the only thing it's weird, but the kitchen in the back, that was the most scariest thing for me.
Is that the kitchen where the riot?
That was what they won, kind of. They didn't really get a lot but they did have that, and it was the only place in the prison that actually had air conditioning and heating. So, and the food was a lot better because, it was kind of bad. So, but in that kitchen, I was actually in there with the paranormal investigators. They let me tag along, and they had all this, REM pods and doing EVPs, and there was a woman and her son in the group with us, and I just kept on hearing come here, come here.
Okay.
And it started freaking me out. I was because I could hear it, and it was coming by the freezer areas, and then all of a sudden the woman started saying that she said that she was had burning on her back.
The woman you were with?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And she actually came for her son. It wasn't even, she was it was a present for him. And so I knew the way out. And so I was come with me. And and then I lifted up her shirt. and she actually had like scratch marks on her back. And I was like, and she's like, it burns.
Yeah.
And then there was another person in our group. It's actually one of my exes, actually. But he came out because I wouldn't go back in. I was staying with her and her son, and yeah, he actually came out, and he doesn't do this normally because he worked there as well, and he actually had tears in his eyes.
Oh, wow.
And it always feels negative back there, and also that's usually where we find dead animals. That is one of I know it's weird.
I wonder what the connection to that is.
I don't know. It's very, very strange. And there's like a whole thing back there too. Like you can lift it up. They actually used it for the commercial for the Valentine's Day Extreme Haunt that I actually did. And that was another one, like upstairs in the infirmary. That's where I was. And I actually told them, I was like, I'm going to need like 2 other people. This is a really big spot. And they had the lights going and everything. And I'm getting ready to practice because, we're getting ready to have the Extreme Haunt.
Yeah.
And at the corner of my eye, it was like a shadow that went by, but it looked like a person, but it just kind of walked by. And I kind of went by the wall and like moved. And I was like, no. I was like, not going to do it. And I was waiting for that group to come and, so I could practice. And let's just say that I didn't stay there very long and walked back. And I was like, okay, like I literally had to walk through, a long, and then plus a door, another long place. And then you got, the psych ward.
Yeah.
So it was like, and then I was like opening this door and I'm like, where have you guys been? Like, I was like, no, I'm not going, like, what is wrong? Like, it felt like forever. And it didn't feel like bad. It was just like I was being watched.
Yeah.
And
just enough uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I was like, and I tried to kind of like let it go, but it was really weird for me. And like, also a lot of people know about Red Snyder and stuff like that. And for some strange reason, I feel safe when I go in there. So I've actually had some experiences and I actually went with some paranormal investigators, and people like literally, because they were like, well, can you try to see if you could talk to Red? And actually he was saying my name through the EVP, and we had like the ghost box going, and he was saying, but he called me Jen, and that's not my full name, but that's what all my friends call me. So weird. And
he's in the inner circle.
Yeah. And and so we actually had like, where I laid in his, and he died in his cell on the floor. He was stabbed multiple times, but and unfortunately, yes, everybody, but that was a really horrific death, and that's an impact, but he actually brushed he brushed my hair, and I was just like, it didn't feel uncomfortable, but it just felt like a protective thing.
Yeah.
So every time like I feel uncomfortable and I do the ghost tours, I've worked here. I was a haunter, did the Extreme Haunt, but I always say hi when I'm around, and and stuff like that. But there's always this place is full of like just crazy energy, but it's always a good time. But I always, when I leave, I tell them they can't come with me.
Now stay here.
Yeah, you kind of learn that after a while.
Well, thank you, Jen. Appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And if you want your story to be one of our featured stories, give me an email, firesideparanormalpodcast@gmail.com.
How much do you really know about the paranormal? Can it ever truly be explained or understood? Many say no. I say bet. Hi, I'm Kristen, host of the Paranorm Girl podcast. My show is a binge-worthy, immersive education of the paranormal. Each season, we explore all aspects and angles of a supernatural topic, unraveling its mystery one fact, theory, or personal story at a time. Overcome your fear, celebrate the unknown, and arrive at a well-informed understanding by catching new episodes of Paranorm Girl anywhere you get your podcasts.
All right, I want to get to my guest. Join me by the fire as we welcome Ethan Quinlan. He is with Wolf Paranormal. Ethan, you with us?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Really good. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Of course, man. Thank you.
Now, we were starting to talk before hitting record about some of those spooky locations. So first, tell me where you're from.
So I'm from St. Mary's County, Maryland, which is southern Maryland, like the most southernmost point you can go in Maryland. And it's about 20 minutes north of Point Lookout, which is Point Lookout used to be a Confederate prison camp. And it's also home to supposedly the most haunted lighthouse in America, Point Lookout Lighthouse.
Yeah, you were getting ready to get into some stories. I was like, let me hit record first. Let's get some of that gold.
Yeah. So when I first started my YouTube channel, like when I was in the process of making my first video, I would go to Point Lookout because that's a place I'm familiar with. And I would just walk around during the day and film stuff, do spirit box, stuff like that. And one of the first times that I was there alone in this place called Fort Lincoln, which is an old fort that was a prison camp, I would do a spirit box session, and I kept getting the name Commander Paul. It was Commander Paul.
Okay.
That's what it was. And come to find out, I was talking to a historian from St. Mary's County, and she told me that there was a Commander Paul at Point Lookout. And she did some digging herself and found out that I'm actually related to him.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was pretty crazy.
That's cool. Nuts. So do you think, like, I don't know, was that like a psychic feeling that you had? Like, were you tuning in, or do you think he was reaching out to you because he knew your blood was the same?
It's possible. It's possible. The name came through about 3 or 4 times, and I don't know why else it would. I'm sure if it was him saying it to me, then he's saying like, "Hey, I'm related to you. I know who you are." That type of thing. Trying to like get a hold of me, and sure enough, I found out who he is.
Wow.
So yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. What are the chances, right?
And I had no idea who he was. I was just showing this lady my footage that I got from the place, and she's like, "Oh, let me look into that a little bit." And then she's like, "Who's your family?" And I told her my family, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're related to him. Holy crap, that's cool." All
right, so tell me about your YouTube channel.
So yeah, Wolf Paranormal. I travel America to the most haunted locations supposedly in America, and I do it all because I have a very deep fascination with the afterlife. Obviously, like most people, the idea of death is very strange. Losing people and wondering where they go. It's all very fascinating to me, and I would love to figure out the secrets of it all. So that's why I do what I do.
Was there something that like sparked it in you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you ever heard of the Hat Man?
Yeah.
So I saw Hat Man when I was 5. It was the first ghost I ever saw. And my mom and I lived in a house about 5 minutes away from Point Lookout, actually. And this story sounds so fabricated, it sounds so made up, but I swear to God on everything, this is what happened. I swear to God. So I was in bed with my mom one night, sleeping, and I woke up out of sleep, and she would have her bedroom door open and the hallway light on. I know now it was because of ghosts. I didn't know it then. So she would keep the hallway light on, and I woke up one night, and there was a man at the foot of the bed with a top hat and a trench coat, and he was just standing there. And at the time, my mom and my dad were split up. So my first thought was, this is my dad. What's my dad doing here? Why is he here? And I just kept staring at him for a while. And after about 5-10 seconds, he put his arms out slowly, like a Jesus pose.
Okay.
And then began to fall onto the bed in a very stiff manner. Like his feet stayed on the ground, but his body came forward.
Ugh.
And then I flinched, and he was gone. But what makes that story even weirder is I didn't tell my mom that story for years. And when I finally did tell her the story, she told me that one night she woke up in the same room, in the same bed, and looked at the doorway. And because the light in the hallway was on, it was illuminating into the room. she saw a man in the doorway wearing a top hat and a trench coat.
No way.
Swear to God.
Oh.
Swear to God. So that's the first ghost I ever saw. And, you know, we never told each other the stories, my mom and I, but she always told me the house was haunted. So in the back of my head, I was always like, that had to be a ghost, right? Like, what was that? Who did I see that night? You know, so that triggered extreme paranormal interest in me from a very young age. So ever since then, I've just been obsessed with this stuff.
Now, did you ever see that again? Or was that like a one-time thing for you, or did it happen a lot?
I've never seen Hat Man again, but when we went to Edinburgh Manor in Iowa, the tour guide told us that Hat Man has been seen there before in the basement. So that got me kind of, you know, excited, but I was also kind of nervous too, because I was like, oh my God, I haven't seen this guy in like 20 years. So after the tour guide had left, we were walking around Edinburgh Manor, and I went off by myself on Instagram Live, just kind of showing everybody, you know, the place, giving them a little tour and this and that. And I was walking into a room where a man had hung himself. And I told the live stream, I was like, if you guys see anything suspicious, let me know, like, you know, like a joking way. And as I was walking into the room, I looked to my left down the hallway and saw a 7-foot-tall pitch black shadow figure standing in the hallway looking at me. And like when I saw it, like I jumped, like I looked away, you know, like it's like when you see something like you're not supposed to see it, you know, she's like, oh my God, like I wasn't supposed to see that.
Sorry, you know.
Yeah. But I saw it, it scared the crap out of me, and I looked back and he was gone, and I was shaking for like an hour after that. But the way that I knew I saw what I saw was, you know, in hospitals they have those doors that open up like that.
Yeah.
And they have those windows in them. So one door was closed and one door was open. And when I saw the figure, he was standing in front of the door with the window. So I could see the cutout of his head and his torso in front of the window, and because it was blocking out the light. And this is at 3 p.m. in broad daylight. Man. So
were you doing an investigation at the time, or were you just walking around in it?
We were going to that night, but this is.
So you were like scouting it out.
Yeah, we were just, you know, walking around, enjoying the place. We had the whole place to ourselves for 24 hours.
Wow.
So I was kind of just, you know, on Instagram Live giving a tour, and was not expecting to see that.
I love and I've been saying this more and more, so I guess my folks listen are either going to like me for it or hate me for it. And it's kind of controversial, I guess, in the paranormal world. But I love the fact that you're raw and genuine about being afraid of something.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, you know, you're going in there like, yeah, I'm going to catch me a ghost. You saw it and you're like, ah!
Yeah, exactly. Dude, if someone says they're not scared of ghosts, they're lying. You know, when you see a ghost, I mean, there's no feeling like it. It's terrifying. You know, like it defies laws of reality. You know, quote unquote laws. So it's like you feel like you're not supposed to see it. And when you see it, it's like, holy crap. I wasn't supposed to see that, but I did. How do I explain that in my head? It's terrifying.
And I also feel like people that are going out and seeking this stuff, right? If you're going out and you're doing investigations, yeah, if you're doing a residential home, that's one thing. You got to like toughen yourself up a little bit. But if you're in one of these big locations, I mean, you're doing it for the thrill of the hunt. You want your heart kind of beating in your chest. Right. You know, you want that experience. And if you don't get that when you're doing it, why are you doing it?
Exactly.
Oh, I'm doing it for research.
It's the thrill of the hunt.
It's the thrill of the hunt.
Of course. And like the funny thing is, Edinburgh was like, that was like a pit stop, because we were going to Iowa. Well, it's in Iowa, but we were going to the Villisca Axe Murder House. That was like the main location we were going to do. And Edinburgh was on the way there. So, okay, we'll just do that the night before, and then we'll do the main location the next night. So Edinburgh, like, I hadn't heard much about it. Mm-hmm. You know, I've seen it on Ghost Adventures and this and that. But so my expectations were pretty low for this place. But, man, that place is haunted as heck. It is crazy. It is so eerie. It's probably the most eerie place I've been to besides Villisca.
So what kind of things happen there?
At Villisca or Edinburgh?
Edinburgh.
So there's a spirit in the basement called the Joker. They call him the Joker because he likes to antagonize people and do this and that. And I went there with Trump City Paranormal, Mike, and we did 30 minutes alone each in the basement to try and bring out the Joker spirit, whoever he is. And we were down there, or I was down there by myself in the kitchen in the basement. And you ever heard of Necrophonic?
Necrophonic, no.
So it's like an app. Well, yeah, it's an app that spits out random words or random
Kind of like a Spirit
vowels.
Box app.
Kind of, yeah, but it doesn't say like real words. It just says like pieces of voices, and the theory is ghosts can use that to put together pieces of voices to say full words.
Okay.
And I had that going, and again, I don't really believe in apps, necrophonic stuff like that, but I was trying it out, and the name Ethan, my name, came through necrophonic.
Uh-oh.
And instantly after, I felt the hand pressed against my back, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like, have you ever had a ghost touch you before?
Yeah.
It's terrifying, right?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
weird.
100%.
It's weird.
I have no shame in this game. I'm a chicken.
Yeah, yeah, and especially when a ghost touches you, it's horrifying. So I felt the full palm against my back, and I freaked out. And around the same time period, there's EVPs that was caught on my microphone, my camera's microphone, talking about me, like taunting me.
Really?
Yeah. There's a lot of EVPs that was captured in that time frame where I was in the basement, and it was just so crazy. When I came up after my 30 minutes was up, Mike went downstairs, and he lasted 12 minutes because he felt the hand grip his neck twice.
Really?
Like twice within 5 minutes.
Now,
So I don't blame him for that. I would have run up too.
Did any of you get marked up or anything like that? Scratches?
I've never been scratched.
No?
I've never seen a scratch. I mean, I'm not discounting anybody that's ever been scratched, but I've never been scratched.
Do you want scratched?
I have asked to be scratched.
Okay.
I've asked to, but it's never happened to me.
Now, see, I'd be the one being like, yeah, scratch him if you're here.
Well, that's funny because I do that too. Like for example, me and Mike were at Crescent Sanatorium,
Okay.
and he was under in the Estes session. He was blindfolded and handcuffed to a chair, listening to a spirit box, and I was downstairs. We were in F building, and I was talking through a walkie-talkie. I was like, okay, if you're up there, why don't you go up there and touch Mike? Go up there and touch Mike. Touch his body. And sure enough, he got touched like 3 times while he was handcuffed and blindfolded.
Man.
So I like doing that stuff at my friend's expense.
Yeah.
But, it gets good evidence.
Now, when you do these, because Wolf Paranormal, it's primarily you, right?
Yeah. Wolf Paranormal is me. Trump City Paranormal is Mike. These days, we're kind of going our own way because we've done everything together pretty much up until this point. But now we're just trying to build our own brands and see what else we can accomplish with our brands.
But when you go on investigations, you team up with other groups in the area? Is that how you do it?
Typically, I have no problem going alone. I don't really want to go alone, to be honest with you. Just mainly because I like doing Estes methods. If Estes was taken out of the equation, I wouldn't have any problem going by myself for the most part. But yeah, typically I team up with people, whether it be Mike or Spirit Stalkers, or I have some collabs lined up in 2023 that I'm going to be working on with different people. So
Yeah, and we had those fellas on just a couple weeks ago.
yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah, great guys.
They're awesome. They're awesome. Very, very funny guys. Very cool guys.
So you go all across the U.S. So what are some places that you've hit? Where are your favorites?
My favorites, number one is definitely Villisca Axe Murder House. In my opinion, that's the most haunted house in America. It's the most haunted place I've ever been in my entire life.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, we're gonna jump back to that one. I want some stories.
Oh, I got plenty for you. I got plenty. I really love Hinsdale House too. Hinsdale House gets a weird rep, because some of the stories are kind of, I don't want to say fabricated, but they're questionable.
Fluffed up.
About the history of the house, So people go there and they have no experience. Like other people go there and they have the craziest night of their life. Mike and I, we got some crazy evidence in that place. That place is definitely haunted. I don't know why, but it's definitely very haunted. Forest Haven Asylum in Laurel, Maryland is also very haunted. You can't go there because it's abandoned. It's, it's not owned by people that allow ghost huntings. So if you go there, you're going to get trespassing. But that place is very haunted.
So how did you get there?
Well, I don't know. I just showed up one day. I appeared one night. But yeah, that Forest Haven is amazing. It's a shame that they don't allow people to go there. So those three, and then Wildwood Sanitarium in New York is also really cool. There's nothing evil there or anything really too nefarious, but the spirits there love to communicate, and it's definitely very active. Yeah, they're all very friendly. They just like to talk. There's a child there named Tommy, I think his name is, and he's a lot of fun. He's cool.
Now, of all these places you went, you said that this Axe Murder House was the biggest or the scariest one, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
so what happened there? What have you experienced there? Tell me about it.
So what happened in Villisca in 1912? 8 people were murdered in their sleep with an axe.
Wow.
2 adults and 6 children. The youngest child being, I think, younger than 2. The oldest being 12.
Oh man. So,
and the murder was unsolved. They never caught the killer. So we went there. I've heard about this place my entire life. I've seen it on TV shows. It's always been on my radar of like a top bucket list location. I've always wanted to go there. I always wanted to sleep in the beds, spend the night, do the whole 9 yards. I was down for this place.
Oh man.
I wanted to do it all. And so we got there, and at first it wasn't too bad. It was eerie because the history of the house. You're taking it all in, like, oh my god, this happened here, this happened there, there's axe marks on the wall over here. Like it's a lot to take in when you get there, but it didn't feel haunted at first while we're getting the tour. And later on into the night, the tour guide had left. Mike and I had went out and got food and came back and started investigating around 10 o'clock at night. And it's so hard to explain. Like, you really have to be there to know what I'm talking about. This place just really gets into your head, and it can manipulate your emotions. It's it's so hard to explain. Mike started to feel very angry out of nowhere.
Oh man.
I started feeling very, very sad. Like I wanted to cry at any given moment out of nowhere. And we didn't know why. We had just started the investigation, and it just got too intense for us to even spend more than 20 minutes inside the house. So we started doing a spirit box session, and because Mike was feeling agitated, he started taunting the killer, because the killer is said to be still in the house. His spirit is said to be one of the main spirits in the house. And Mike started to taunt him, saying, how could you do this? How could you this is evil, you're a coward. And
yeah.
He did that by himself in the attic, and then he had to go step outside, and then I started talking to the spirit box by myself in the house upstairs in the kids' room. And I was saying along the lines of the same things, like, how could you do this? You're such a coward. These kids didn't get to grow up and
only crying, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much. But no, as I'm saying that, because there's a spirit box going, SB7, as I'm saying that, I'm like, these kids didn't get to grow up, and the spirit box says, I saved their soul.
Oh.
Yeah, and it got a lot more darker than that, but eventually Mike and I were together again, and we were in the attic, and the attic is where the killer hid, supposedly, before he killed everybody. And I brought it up again. I was like, so what's your name? You're not going to tell us your name, the killer? Because he was, unidentified. And Mike said to me, he's not going to tell your name. He's not going to tell you his name. And I said, I know, because he's a coward. And as soon as I said that, the spirit box said the name of my dead best friend, who had died a year prior to the day.
Oh.
Clear as day. clear as day. I heard it.
Ethan.
I heard it in real time. I have it on footage. I bleeped it out in my actual video that I put on YouTube. For family privacy, of course. But I do have the uncensored video of that, and I heard it in real time. I turned off the spirit box instantly. I said, "Dude," because Johnny, the tour guide, he told us, he's like, "This thing is gonna get personal with you. It's gonna know things about you that it shouldn't know. It's gonna dig into your deepest, darkest crevices of your brain and pick out the one thing that will upset you the most." And that's exactly what it did.
Now, okay, so in your mind, is that the axe murderer, or do you think that is I can say like demon that maybe caused the axe murderer to do something that could still be in that house? Because how would it know things? How would a
Right.
guy who died
Right.
however long ago know who your best
Right.
friend is? You know what I mean? The spirits just don't have that information.
Like I've talked to plenty of evil spirits, and none of them had that capacity to know that about me. To look into your brain and to just know what would upset you the most at the right moment. I don't think it was the killer that I was talking to. And I don't think, just for the record, I don't think the kids are in that house at all.
Yeah.
The family, the parents, they're not there at all. Whatever is in that house, I have a theory that extremely, extremely evil energies can be manifested through acts of terrible, terrible things.
Okay.
And if you think about it, that house has been investigated for 100 years. People have been doing seances there for 100 years, conjuring up all of this energy after this terrible act happened. So I don't know. I don't want to call it a demon because I don't think I believe in demons, but that whatever's in that house is the only thing that I've encountered that I would consider to be a demon. Possibly. It's not the killer, it's not the family, it's something entirely much more intelligent and very evil.
Something definitely dark.
Extremely
Right.
dark. Absolutely.
Man, that's intense.
It is, yeah. And we didn't spend the night either. We left at 2:30 in the morning.
You didn't want to sleep in the bed after that?
Absolutely not.
No, I don't blame you.
Have you heard the story of the ghost hunter who was there by himself?
No.
So this ghost hunter, back in 2014, he had dealt with the same type of thing in that house where it got really personal with him, and he knew this thing was not of a human sort.
Yeah.
So he told Johnny, the caretaker of Villisca, he told them that he's going to give this house a piece of his mind. So he went there by himself to the house, and he was in the downstairs bedroom where the two Stillinger girls were killed, the blue room. And he was sitting on the bed, taunting the spirit, taunting whatever is in the house, taunting the house itself. And he says he looked to his left and looked into the closet in the corner of the room and saw a white light come out of the closet. As soon as he saw the white light, he blacked out, and then he woke up in a hospital bed. Turns out he had stabbed himself in the chest with a hunting knife and died twice on the helicopter ride to the hospital.
What?
Yeah, that actually happened. It's legit. It really happened.
Well, now that I'm covered in goosebumps.
Yeah, so it's like, and before I went there, I knew that story. So in the back of my head, I'm like, this thing could potentially hurt me or Mike. Like, what if we both go to sleep and then this thing takes over us in the middle of the night and then we hurt each other, Like, it was just so weird.
All right,
And
I gotta interrupt you. I gotta ask. Okay, so you go in here, right? You said you're there 20 minutes, and you're already being just like flushed with emotions, anger, sadness, everything. Knowing this story, you guys go back in and then you taunt it.
well, you see, like, we didn't want to taunt it. It was just, it's what the house kind of like made us do.
Okay.
Out of the way it was making us feel. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to like express how we felt.
Yeah.
Unless you were there feeling it. Like, it was such extreme emotion. Like, it felt like a horror movie. Like, I don't want to like be cliche and say, but it
Yeah.
felt like you were in a horror movie. And again, people go there and don't experience anything. Some people go there and feel the same thing that I felt there. I've heard people claim the same experiences since I've gone there, and I've looked into accounts, and it happens a lot.
Whew.
Yeah, I like saying it out loud sounds so crazy, but I mean, I was there, I experienced it, and that's what it is.
Yeah, that's intense, man.
It's
Now,
messed up.
how often do things like that happen to you?
Never. That's the one place where it's affected me that deeply.
How many times have you been there?
Once.
Will you go back?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Ugh. Maybe
I'm
you're
going
not,
back. I actually have a date booked for 2023.
maybe you're not as big of a chicken as you thought you was, Ethan.
Yeah. Well, see, like for me, like it's weird. Like the more a location scares me, the more I feel drawn back to it.
Thrill
As
of the
weird
hunt.
as that, as crazy as that sounds,
It's the void calling you in. Right?
I guess so. Something like that. Whatever it is. But I've
Man.
never felt such a draw back to a location that I felt for Villisca. That place is truly something else, dude.
Now,
It
are
is
you
something
going to
else.
do that alone?
No. No. I'm not doing that. I don't want to announce it yet who I'm going there with.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna let them announce it first because they have a date planned for December 30th. So.
Oh, I know who it is.
Oh, do you?
No, I'm just
Okay.
just trying to get you to say it.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, okay, yeah. No. No,
Yeah,
so
but
you've been investigating all these places, right? Some of them you do by yourself. So how does that work? How do you do an because when I was doing investigations, we had a team of people. There were several of us. But there was never a thought in my head to go it alone.
Yeah.
Right. So what is that process like? How do you set up? How do you prepare? And then how do you just go in there? You got, night vision goggles and a blowtorch. What do you do when you're in there?
Well, as far as filming goes, just set up tripods with cameras in different corners and kind of take it slow. Don't really jump into it all that fast. There's a way that I like to film my videos, and I'm used to doing it with people,
Yeah.
because I don't really do it by myself that often. It's just I run the channel by myself.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just if I'm by myself, I take it very slow. I don't jump right into it and be like, okay, I'm here, demons. It's me, your boy. Don't do all that stuff. But
Take your shirt
Yeah.
off, start tough talking them. I'm right here.
Yeah. Go full. You know who?
Wolfpack.
Yeah. No, definitely just take it slow. Feel it out. See what hotspots stand out to me, and go from there.
What kind of equipment do you use?
So my top 3 favorites that I have are SB7 Spirit Box, for obvious reasons. It produces some extremely undeniable evidence, in my opinion, because, like I said, it said the name of my dead best friend. In real time. I don't know what better evidence you can get from that. And he has a very unique name too. It's not like a regular name that you usually hear. And then REM pods. REM pods are amazing for direct contact. Like direct yes and no. Like can you light up this color for this or this color for that? Or can you come close and make the purple light up and it does it on command? You can't really make that stuff up.
Yeah.
And then music boxes are really fun too.
Music boxes. That's a new one for me.
Yeah, me too.
Tell me about
I
it.
never really used them too much until we went to Hinsdale House, and the upstairs closet in the master bedroom is said to be a portal. That's what the tour guide told us, a portal to the spirit world. So we're gonna test that out, and we set up a music box on the nightstand facing into the closet, and it started to light up, and the capacity for the sensor on the music box is like 5 feet or so, and this is way more than 5 feet away. Like it would stop and then it would start again after we said something. Like we would ask a question, music box would light up. So it's like they know to light it up as a way of saying yes. Or you can introduce that to them, be like, if yes, light this up, and they will do that. They did it on command at Hinsdale House for like
what-
an hour straight.
What is a music box? Because in my head, I was thinking like just one of them like little kid, like you open it up in a ballerina. I was like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
So basically what a music box is it has a sensor on the front of it, and there's a device on top that will play a song, like a creepy song. You know, some of them have different songs. Some are like Alfred Hitchcock's, and other ones are whatever. And if something walks into that sensor, that music box on top, songs will start to play. Mine's in my car. I was gonna grab it, but it's in my car. But yeah, they're really cool. I don't know exactly how they work. I just know that sensor sets off the music on top to play.
Okay, that's neat.
Yeah.
That's neat.
It's pretty cool.
There's some fun gadgets out now.
Dude, there really is. There's a lot more than I can afford.
Now, this is something I always like to ask folks, especially, you know, if they're out doing investigations. If you could only take one thing, what is your go-to? Obviously, you got a flashlight. What's your
REM
one
pod.
thing?
REM pod.
REM pod?
REM pod.
Why?
Yeah. Because for me, I don't know. I feel like spirits enjoy using that more than anything else. Because, you know, the colors are cool. It makes this fun little sound. But that aside, like I said, you can really have direct conversation with them, yes or no, with a REM pod, you know, and you can really confirm it by telling them to come closer, make the yellow one because the way a REM pod works, the antenna on top puts out its own EMF field.
Okay.
And the closer you get to it, each color will signal. So like the furthest away is the green light, and then closer is the yellow light, and then closer is the blue light, and then right on top of the antenna is the purple light. So you can tell them to come closer, make the blue light light up, come closer, make the purple one light up, and they'll do it. It's awesome.
Do you feel, because obviously if you have something like that, it's more of an intelligent haunting.
Oh
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel like you've come up against more intelligent haunts or residual?
Yeah, I think I have come across a lot more intelligent spirits than residual. Residual for me is very rare.
Okay.
If I do get residual evidence, it's usually like EVPs. Like I'll catch an EVP on my camera microphone that is just very irrelevant. Like it sounds like a spirit saying something completely irrelevant to somebody that's not there. You know, it's like a recorded voice in history almost.
Very cool.
Which is really weird to think about if you want to get really deep into it. You say, what the heck is that? You know, but that's why we do this, right?
So I'm curious, because what got you involved, you wanted to figure all this out, right? How long have
Yeah.
you been investigating?
So actually investigating about 2.5 years.
Okay, so
But
go ahead.
I've had gadgets and stuff like that for about 5 years. You know, like fiddling around with it and going around different places by myself, off camera, and just doing things on my own. And the rest of my life was just spent, you know, enjoying horror movies and watching ghost shows. So
It's a great life.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
But like in all of your time of doing this, what have you found out? Like what belief structure do you have that you've created with your experiences?
So I do believe in God a lot more, for sure. I know for a fact that ghosts exist. Nothing anybody tells me will ever convince me otherwise. I know for a fact ghosts are real. There is some sort of afterlife. There is some sort of spirit world. But I will say, since doing this, I have more questions than answers.
Fair.
And I thought it would be the other way around. You know, there are some questions that were answered, but now I have more questions.
It's like you go and you're like, all right, I answered this one, but now I have 50 more.
Exactly. It's like every question that gets answered, it adds 20 more. It's like, it's never ending, right? You know, I guess I'll know when I die.
Now, what is the goal with Wolf Paranormal? Because I know primarily it's a big social media creator, right? You're on the Instagram. Are you on TikTok?
Yeah, I am on TikTok. I don't use TikTok too much.
But I know
Mostly
your
on
YouTube is
and
big.
Twitter, Instagram, stuff like that. The main goal is to prove to people that ghosts exist, that there is an afterlife. And I really take this stuff seriously as far as evidence goes in video work. You know, I'm kind of a dingus on the internet sometimes, but but when it comes to ghost hunting and presenting evidence, I'm extremely serious about it. Like, The reason I started my channel was because I got tired of watching phony ghost hunters on YouTube. And I wanted to make a real channel that showed real paranormal evidence to everyday people. Because when people try to tell me that ghosts don't exist, there isn't a bigger pet peeve. I can't stand it because I know they do. So I'm like, please just watch this. Look what happened here. Like, it's just, like, this is why I do this.
You're living it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So can you name some of the ones that you think are phony?
No.
Oh, no. Let's have a little fun, Ethan.
There's a little list in my head, but I'm not gonna say it.
It is worth a shot.
You want that tea?
Let's get some of that tea. No. Now you got a lot of subscribers. You're going through. How often do you put up videos?
Usually about once a month. I'm trying to make it, more often, but the way that I make videos takes a little bit of time, and the way I look at it is quality over quantity. So
True.
So I try to take my time and really perfect my craft and give people the best videos that I possibly can instead of just spewing out stuff every week,
Now, do these places reach out to you to
No.
investigate? Do you reach out to them? Okay.
No, I reach out to them for sure, 100%.
Okay. Are folks, because there might be some folks here listening that have locations. Are you open to suggestions?
Absolutely, yeah. I'll do house calls. I'll do whatever they want.
And that was going to be my next. Do you do residential as well?
I never have before, but I'm not opposed to it. I absolutely will. If the claims are factual, if they have evidence to back it up, and it's not just some, I think there's a ghost in my house because the air duct closed my door one night, If they have actual things to back it up, then sure, yeah, I'll come check it out.
Okay. And how would they get up with you? What's the best way?
You can message me on social media, at Wolf Paranormal, Wolf with a U, on all social medias, or you can email me at wolfparanormal@gmail.com.
And then they can just say, hey, I got this place, bunch of crap's going on.
If they can give me some evidence that they've captured over time, then
Okay.
yeah, they can do that.
And if they have like a bigger location, you know what I mean? Because we got some folks here that listen that have some like legit huge places that are on the tourism radar.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm very open to exploring more and seeing more things and experiencing more locations. So absolutely.
Sweet. And then the YouTube it's just Wolf Paranormal with a U?
Wolf Paranormal. Wolf, yeah, WULF space paranormal.
Very cool. Go out there and subscribe. Can you give us one more story before we end?
Sure, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
give me one more story, but go subscribe to his YouTube, but give me one more story.
So what kind of story are you looking for?
So you've already told me what scared you, right? Your scariest story. What is your favorite experience? Because those aren't always the same thing. You can be
That's
scared
very
and
true.
thrilled,
That's
but
very
you can
true.
have one thing that's man, this has really stuck out to me. My favorite thing I always tell people.
Absolutely. So, Forest Haven, a place that I mentioned earlier that I shouldn't have been at. So we were doing a Estes session at this place called Forest Haven, and I had read a story online about a boy who drowned in a bathtub mysteriously in the 70s.
Oh wow.
And always wanted to find out what bathtub it was. I knew what building it was. I knew what area of the building it was in, but I didn't know which bathtub it was because there's a couple of them. We did some tests in each bathroom, and we ended up finding which bathroom it was because the boy who died in the bathtub came through.
Oh.
And he came through a year apart. So we did it once in the beginning of 2021, and we came back earlier this year, very early 2022, and he came through again. And this video's on my YouTube channel if you guys want to go check it out. It's Forest Haven. We made serious contact with this 21-year-old man who drowned in a bathtub. He was severely handicapped, and that really, and he's such a sweet soul too. It didn't scare me at all. It just made me feel good about wow, we can actually help spirits. This isn't just about scaring people. This isn't just about giving people a spooky video. This is
Yeah.
we're helping real people that have died, come through and give them some sort of resolve. We ended up doing an Estes session in that bathtub a couple weeks after our second time talking to him. And it turns out, so this is all going to sound very crazy, but
What, on this show?
but we found out that there is a extremely dark manifestation of hatred and evil at Forest Haven, who was manifested through all of the terrible acts that were done to patients at that facility over the years.
Ooh.
And we found this out through a medium. This is a very weird story for me to talk about because it's this is the one that really hit home for me.
Okay.
So this dark spirit there controls the rest of the patients at Forest Haven and doesn't let them leave, doesn't let them go anywhere else. Mike actually had one of the patients follow him home, and he helped her cross over with the help of psychic mediums. I don't know if you believe in psychic mediums or not, but from what they did and what they told us throughout our time investigating Forest Haven, I think I do now. The girl's name was Clarabelle Braxton. That's in the video as well. But
This was the psychic or the patient?
Clarabelle Braxton was the patient.
Okay.
She was a young girl that would always come through with us at Forest Haven. But we ended up finding out this kid's name who drowned in the bathtub. His name was Jacob, and we ended up being able to help several spirits get out of Forest Haven. Supposedly, that's what it feels like. I think a piece of whatever the spirit was that had a control over the patients at Forest Haven, this negative spirit, a part of him broke off with me for a while. He followed me home for a little bit.
Oh, no.
And really caused some sort of mental turmoil with me. And he still shows up from time to time. He's not always here, but sometimes he does come back, and I know when he does. I've talked to him a couple times in my house. I call him out, and then he leaves.
I know you're here. Get out. You get on out now.
But yeah, helping that boy at Forest Haven and helping Clarabelle Braxton at Forest Haven is definitely my favorite thing I've done so far in this paranormal field. Clarabelle is a whole different story. That's another one of my favorites. I didn't even think about that. I thought about the bathtub boy first, but Clarabelle.
With
What were you gonna say?
the guy in the bathtub, like, have you been back since to see if he, came through on any of your devices?
That's the thing. Since we did that investigation, they've turned Forest Haven into an impound lot and set up fences with guards and dogs, so you can't go back there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it sucks.
Man.
But from what I understand, Jacob was his name. He did pass on, and so did Clarabelle.
Great job. All right, man. Ethan, thank you so much.
Of course.
This
Thank
is
you.
the time for the show. That went by a lot quicker.
Yeah, it did. Wow.
That was
It's
really
already
quick.
been an hour.
Go subscribe to him on all the social medias. Support him. Watch some videos. Have some fun. And if you got a spooky place, reach out to him.
Of course. Please do.
All right, Ethan, thank you so much for coming on the show. We're going to talk
Yeah,
again.
thank you, man. For sure. Thank you, man.
Bye-bye. And with that, the fire is out. Thank you so much, Ethan, and thank all of you for listening. I really do appreciate you. If you haven't connected with me online yet, Fireside Paranormal Hub on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, at Fireside Parapod, Parapod, TikTok. We have the Patreon going on, patreon.com/Fireside Paranormal. A lot of bonus stuff going on over there. I think this makes our 27th after interview conversation with the guests. So if you haven't joined the Patreon yet, you are missing out on some fun things. Tiers start at just $1, and there's a lot of extra stuff on there. There is still time to get your Krampus merch for the show. Go to firesideparanormal.com, click on the merch tab, and check out all the fun, exciting Fireside merch. Like I said, Krampus is still going on till the end of the year. And that is it for this week. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and next year we have so much fun stuff coming on. I can't wait to see you then. Stay safe over the holidays and enjoy your family. Until next time, don't be afraid, only believe.